Hello, and welcome to episode 239 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm back.
He's back, baby. a week of beach living.
Oh, it was fantastic. Highly recommend.
James has returned.
Yep.
This week is kind of a grab bag of everything James missed while he was being a beach bunny.
Yeah, there was a lot. I did a really good job of leaving my phone in a drawer in the nightstand and not paying any attention to it.
To anything.
Enjoying time with my family, and boy, howdy did I miss a lot.
Yeah, so if you want to get at us, Wilds of Eldraine spoilers are happening. If you want to get some early information about the set, there's been some leaks, and we discussed many of them in the pre-show.
Yeah, if you want to listen
that maybe inspired me to buy some cards.
If you would like to listen to the pre-show, you have to be a patron to do that.
Yeah.
So
if you've got things you're excited about, things you want us to talk about here in the next few weeks, kind of around wild set stuff, reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Discord, Elon Forever, X, and all that stuff. All those links are in the description, so go check it out. Say hey.
Yeah, hit us up. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's something you want us to cover. I think the one that you forgot to say was Discord. That's
I couldn't remember if I said Discord or not.
Yeah, that's where we're probably the most active. And I spent a portion of today responding to messages in Discord that I had missed while I was on sabbatical. And there were some questions or ideas for shows and whatnot in there.
Good.
Yeah. So I made note of those and answered some questions, and yeah. Like Brian said earlier, we talked about a bunch of Wilds of Eldraine stuff in the pre-show. If you would like to listen to that, sign up for our Patreon. You get to help to support the show. If you enjoy the content we make and want to show us how much you care, you can chip a couple bucks in at patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG, and you'll get access to that pre-show as well as every other pre-show. You'll also get access to our show notes, and you'll get put on my mailing list for when I have swag to send out. Roughly every other month I do some givebacks. They seem to be pretty popular. Our patrons really like them. Speaking of, I did get a couple requests for tokens for the next round of givebacks. If anybody has any more, send them on my way. And if you're not a patron and have one that might entice you to become a patron, you can send that my way also. Another way you can support the show is through our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. As we've said for, a month or two now, our affiliate link has changed, so don't try and use the old one. This is the new current one, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Follow that link on over to TCG player, and anything you purchase afterwards will get a percentage of to help keep the show going. Doesn't cost you guys a dime, and we would really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. So Wizards did like an information dump.
Yeah, I think it started as like a Gen Con panel.
Okay.
And then portions of that were translated into an article, and then there was like a different article with some timeline stuff. Wizards does not make it easy to find the information you're looking for. It's in multiple places, all on their website. Could have very easily all been in one place and would have been easier to manage.
Could have just been a much simpler way to do things.
Yeah. So I apologize if our notes here are kind of scattered, and that leads to us being a little bit scattered, but you'll have to bear with me here.
We're doing our best.
Yeah.
He's still on vacation brain, so it's fine.
Yeah, I haven't gone back to work yet. Tomorrow's my first day back to work, and I am not looking forward to it.
My wife has been off since Wednesday.
Yeah.
And she was like, it was raining here, and she's like, what if it'll rain tomorrow? Maybe the patients will stay home. She's like, I've been off for a week. I should be better prepared. Like, no, it's fine.
Rain keeps the patients home, huh?
Yes. Yes, and the students away. It's amazing. Yeah. I always tell my students, like, you're not part witch. You can get wet. It's fine.
Not gonna melt.
Not gonna melt. All right. So there were a bunch of arena announcements.
Mm-hmm.
So the big one I think for us is that they're planning to have Pioneer tournaments by the end of next year.
Which means that the paper format, mostly intact, should be on Arena by then, right?
Yeah, so they're going to be, there's more anthologies coming.
Yep.
There has to be, and we'll talk about some of those. And there's a Pioneer Masters set, which is a digital only release that is coming to Arena, kind of with the sole focus, I think, of getting it to enough of Pioneer to be viable. Again, like, we're not gonna get Summit Prowler more than likely.
Don't need
but
it.
we're gonna get the cards that we need,
right,
and skimp on the cards that we don't, and kind of like, now Magic Online is a little slow about this sometimes, but just like Magic Online will be like, oh hey, this card's now seeing like play, I guess we should put it on the client.
Yeah,
you could see maybe going forward, a like historic, or sorry, a Pioneer anthology where it's like, hey, here are the 3 cards that we're missing. Give us $5.
Yeah.
And you can have these 3 cards.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's a paradoxical outcome deck and we need Bonesaw. We don't have Bonesaw. So we'll give you Bonesaw.
Yeah.
So that'll work. Not give, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, something like Bonesaw, they could just give us. Like, they've done that before with the welcome decks. They update the welcome decks every so often. And if there's a card like Bonesaw that needs to be included, they could just put it in a welcome deck and give it to you.
Yeah. But like the point being, like, they could still milk some stuff. Like, they're not going to put every card,
right?
But they should probably get the, like, I think if you get to the top like 150 played cards in the format, you have officially gotten enough stuff for maybe the top 200 played cards. Like, you're fine.
Yep. I agree.
So apparently part of this, now this is filtered through the newly named but not officially rebranded in the podcast app, Jerry T Podcast.
Okay.
They've decided to go with that.
Just naming it after him. Okay.
Yeah, since the co-host changes, but the Jerry T stays the same.
Gotcha. So they're I haven't listened to them in a really long time, but they are like just doing rotating co-hosts.
No, they have Brian Gottlieb is officially retired.
Well, I knew that he was leaving. I didn't know if they'd.
No, so he has. Is it Dave Shields?
Okay.
Kind of like a modern grinder, like has been to the Pro Tour, plays a lot of modern. Player from like the Boston area.
Okay.
And like they went and like top 8 at a team event with Jerry in the legacy seat. And like this guy's main purpose in life is getting Jerry to play more Magic.
Gotcha.
So they talk about like going online and like testing matchups against each other and stuff, which is something that hadn't happened in a long time since kind of Jerry. I think Jerry can easily check out.
Yeah.
And Brian wasn't doing a whole lot to check him in.
Right.
But yeah. So what Jerry said was, according to the announcement, Wizards was like, yeah, we were unable, like this Pioneer Masters thing was supposed to come out this year, like Q4 2023, but they were unable to focus on giving Historic a unique identity and do Pioneer Masters.
I thought Historic's unique identity was that it had fake cards in it.
Well, you got to make the fake cards.
The fake cards already exist.
But you had to keep making fake cards.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that was what Jerry said. It was like, it was like the stuff they put in there and like all that alchemy crap.
Yeah.
So I think it was, again, the 2 interns they have like making cards could not both make all the Pioneer cards they needed and all the alchemy cards they needed. So they chose the alchemy cards.
Yeah.
and like backburnered Pioneer.
Quick side note. Have you read any of the stuff that they've published, or not really published, but kind of put out there about how the rules engine works?
Not recently. I know you always say that it was supposed to like just you type a card and it reads the card.
I mean, it's kind of interesting if you're interested in that sort of thing. I guess.
No. I think I did read one of the articles you sent me about like how the weird dagger thing just made you sack all of your permanents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have published a few more. I think there's 4 of them now.
Okay.
That talk about like the nuts and bolts of how Arena works and how cards get like implemented onto the client. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but apparently not easy enough for 2 interns to put like 400 cards in.
Does not seem that way.
So some combination of remasters, anthologies, and a Pioneer master set will get us to Pioneer.
The way that I had understood it is that basically the Pioneer Masters set is going to get us to Pioneer tournaments next year, and the anthologies are just kind of to pick up the stragglers. The anthologies aren't really going to be for like format staples. They're going to be more for like tier 3 decks or somebody's pet deck or something along those lines. Because one of the other so this first section here was right from the Arena announcements, and then in the Gen Con panel they also talked about this a little bit, and I think it was in the Gen Con panel they mentioned something about trying to keep different kinds of players engaged, and I guess there's a reasonably sized portion of the player base that doesn't care what the meta is and just wants to play like fringy decks in whatever format, and that's what the anthologies are more going to be for, is that kind of player, the player who wants Platinum Angel or like those sorts of cards, you know what I mean?
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I
think that's a reasonable way to do it.
Yeah, I am for that. Like, I have been that person for the last like couple weeks playing unranked unranked Maze's End.
Oh God, who are you?
Yeah.
What did you do with Brian?
Hey,
is this Gates Maze's End or is this Turbo Fog Maze's End?
Oh, this is Gates Maze's End.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
Like, I was gonna say, you've seen like Gates Ablaze, Golos, Guild Summit, sideboarding into Gatebreaker Ram. Yeah, like
that's better than Turbo Fog.
Did I play against mono red with Cleansing Wildfire and 8 Field of Ruins? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. We had some rough days there, but like I understand. Like, hey, I just want to play like my pet deck. Like, that's fine. But it's just, I don't know. It's like you got to get all this stuff on there. I think it'd be a big boon for Arena to do that. Right, just because like that is going to, I think, get more people on the client. It's like, hey, here's a real format, and you can come here and play and qualify for stuff with a real format. Because like there's people that come onto Arena and play like, you know, the fake almost like Explorer and stuff, but I think would spend way more time on Arena if they were playing like an actual like real format.
Something that they could analog in paper.
Exactly. Because like I miss that. Like I wish I had that.
Well, let's go out of order a little bit. I'm gonna move something up in the ranking. This is something that they talked about in the Gen Con panel. They were talking about, hang on, let me get this up here. They were talking again about the different kinds of players that Magic has and how to better better serve them. And they said one of the things that they want to do is find a way to link paper and digital play.
That would be good.
And I think what they had mentioned was doing that through the companion app, so that games you win at F&M will advance you on your Mastery Pass.
Oh.
Which is
interesting.
I mean, it's not, unless they like make the Mastery Pass a little bit better or harder. I don't think this really does anything, because it's like kind of trivial to get through a Mastery Pass.
It is. I mean, it's trivial for like you and I when like we're like engaged.
I mean, it's kind of trivial even when I'm not. Like, I haven't been engaged in a long time, and I don't think I've missed a Mastery Pass.
Yeah, I missed what I forgot to pay for. But other than that, I think it's good that one of the things we complained about was decoupling paper from like the like decoupling LGS play from like kind of the pro progression, or like, and if it starts at getting Mastery Pass stuff, like it could move to, hey, if you play 10 F&Ms, you get 1 token for an arena open. Or something like,
or a
like
draft token or something, yeah.
Yeah, like they could do something where they reward you for playing in paper.
Yep.
And like, you know, that does 2 things. It could get people, much like they put the little codes in there, like get a pack, right? They can get the people that don't play Arena. If you give them something free, they may go download Arena to use the free thing.
Right.
And then it's getting people that might have stayed home to play Arena to go play like at an LGS.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I assume that you and I are like the exception and not the rule. But like, neither one of us has put money in Arena in like 2 years.
At least, yeah.
And like, I don't think there's any reason for me to put money in Arena. Like, there's nothing I can't like.
No, I mean, you're in a way better spot than I am. You've got wild cards coming out of your ear holes.
Yeah. So like, you know, doing something to get more people, like there comes a point where like the people that are on your client don't have to spend money anymore.
Right.
Like if you just want to like play like a janky deck and you already have your janky deck, you don't have to put any more money in.
Correct.
And you just play it for a while, get some packs, and then be like, oh, I guess I can make another janky deck. So like you got to get more people into the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So
the kind of going along with this was another tidbit about Arena that I just kind of wanted to mention. This also came from the Gen Con panel and not from the Arena announcements. But when they were talking about how to better suit the different kinds of players, they specifically called out multiplayer Magic. And we're talking about how they might do that. And 2 of the things that they said that they're going to address this, I think, in the later part of next year. They're going to have a little bit better plan of what they're going to do. But they're thinking either it's going to be an entirely new platform that maybe shared like a card database with Arena, or it was going to be like an expansion to Arena that would let you play multiplayer.
Weird.
Yeah.
I guess like an expansion makes sense, but like it seems kind of wild to like make a different client.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's our Commander client. It's like, no. Like it all has to be one thing. There's not like,
well, like that's what they were talking about though, is they specifically talked about this through the lens of like collection building and how like players want to use the cards that they collected and not have to collect them all over again. And I guess it would be 4 different places if you played on every way to play.
every conceivable way of playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that would be terrible.
Yeah.
So hopefully they do something like I am like down with it like being a um goodness. Uh
Expansion pack.
like an expansion like
Yep.
hey, download this big thing
Mhm.
or preferably something you could like opt out of cuz the iPad only has so much space.
Yeah. Well, like that's an interesting way to approach it though, because like in a normal game with DLC or whatever, like you can load the game without the DLC,
Mhm.
or you can load the
Like
game
if
with
it's
the
like a
DLC.
if it's like a if it's like a forced pushed thing, but if it
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, here's this thing. Do you want it or not?" It's like, "Okay, like I can get behind that."
Yeah.
Like that seems pretty good.
There was another announcement that may make you a little more interested in multiplayer Magic on Arena.
Okay.
We'll get to it a little later on.
I was gonna say, have they freed Merit Lage?
No, not quite.
Uh,
Something almost as cool.
all right, all right, okay. So another thing that is happening for reasons that make little sense. Well, let's do this in a different order. Let's
Okay.
talk about cons first, because that kind
Sure.
of fits in with other stuff, right?
Sure.
They're bringing cons, baby.
Yeah, actual cons.
Um, if
In
you don't do that many drafts and you're
Yeah.
like, hey, I want to like save, I want to like know what like the premier chef's kiss, save your gold for cons, baby. That was one of the best draft formats. Like, I know there's been some good ones recently.
Mhm.
People forget how good cons was.
Yeah. And it's going to be this year. Like, so we're
So
gonna
maybe
we're gonna
leave
have
Christmas,
wilds, we're gonna have cons, and we're gonna have
the other set.
Ixalan.
Yeah, like so I don't know how it'll be because remember they did Kaladesh was like in December or
Yeah.
something. Like it seems like there's a really short turnaround, like Wilds and then Ixalan comes out in November.
Yeah.
And then you get like that dead time around Christmas. Like that
Yep.
would be like the perfect time, just like they put the
Oh, that would
vintage
be the
cube up
perfect
on
time.
they put the vintage cube up on Magic Online,
Yeah.
and then they throw cons up then.
Yeah.
And like I draft as opposed to like do responsible things with my time.
Yep.
But
prepare yourself for some draft content.
yes, I will definitely be drafting way too much cons.
Yeah.
But cons is and it specifically states cons, not Tarkir remastered
Correct.
cons.
In the Gen Con panel, they talked about not doing remastered sets for a little while for Arena.
Okay.
Later on, we're going to talk about some other remastered stuff, but on Arena, they're not going to do like they did for Amonkhet and Kaladesh and Shadows. They're not going to do those kinds of remastered sets. So this is just going to be cons.
Which cons is love.
Yeah. But that also means we're going to get fetches on Arena.
Yeah. I mean, I think they are perfectly fine in historic.
Mm-hmm.
Historic feels like just a garbage pail format. So, for example, I was playing. There was a midweek Magic event,
mm-hmm.
and I was just playing whatever like nonsense deck I decided to queue up with. Right, whatever.
Yeah.
I had my opponent bowmaster me into the One Ring, and I was like, "We are playing two totally different games here.
Yeah.
Like, this is dumb, right? Like." It's like, hey, it's a bunch of standard sets, and then like the two most played cards in modern.
Right.
And it's like, we said Brainstorm was too good, but yet here we are with the two best cards in modern.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well, to be fair, Brainstorm's too good for modern.
Is this true? This is true. Yeah. But no, it just feels weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so I wonder what like the end goal is. If they're if they're planning on having all of Pioneer on the client by the end of next year, what do they work towards after that? Do they work towards Modern on Arena? Like, they're not really supporting Legacy anymore. So Modern's the new Legacy and Pioneer's the new Modern. They've already handed off Magic Online to another company for caretaking. Like, they're not doing anything with it anymore. It kind of makes sense that they would want like all of their formats cohesively in a digital client at some point.
Oh, it makes 100% sense. Now, we saw the pain that was required to get Pioneer. Like, has this been like a 2.5 year project? By the time, like,
maybe.
Like, well, I guess last year's when they announced that they wanted to get full Pioneer.
Yeah.
Right?
So it will be a 2-year project.
It'll be like a 2-year process by the time it's done.
Yeah.
So yeah, about a year ago. So like it'll be like a 2.5 year process. How long to get enough of Modern that it's Modern? Now, the counterpoint to this is it could just be Shocks, Fetches, Triomes, Bolt, and then Modern Horizons 1, 2, and 3. And then that's all of Modern.
I was just going to say, realistically, that's Modern.
Yeah, like you get like a handful of cards that aren't like, that are like old random like Stoneforge.
Yeah.
Right, like, oh, here's Stoneforge, and here's a couple other random things, and then here's all the stuff we printed in the last 6 years.
But also, if they're looking to either piggyback onto Arena for some multiplayer expansion or tie your collection to some other multiplayer game, like, players are going to want all of that stuff for EDH anyway.
Yeah. Like, gosh, it would be so bad to have like your Arena and then Commander Arena as like two different icons.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
well, I don't think they'd necessarily, unless they were going to go for a whole new client. But like if they do it through the expansion thing, like it could just be a button, like on
like if it's an expansion thing, like fine, yeah. But like whatever. But anyway, I'm like fine with fetch lands coming to Arena. Like I think that would be interesting for whatever it is for historic. We'd have the same problem that we've had. We'd only have half the fetches,
right?
Which like whatever is not a big deal when you can just like change a few text files and then you have them,
right?
But yeah, no, I think that cons will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited.
Speaking of Modern Horizons 3,
yeah.
For, again, like I was starting to say, reasons that boggle human comprehension, other than, well, we've got all of Pioneer on here, now what?
Well, also, Chad's got to get his beans.
Yeah, bro. We got to put these cards everywhere, bro.
Yeah.
Even the dump.
Even the dump.
So, Modern Horizons 3 is coming out next summer, right?
Yes.
So get ready to have freer elementals or
no, so whatever. Down a little bit. Like I said, this was kind of hard to organize. In the Gen Con announcement, they stated that Modern Horizons 3 will be double-faced cards. And things that you wouldn't normally see double-faced.
Woo!
Yeah.
I'm so excited. That just allows you to have Force of Homie Don't Play that on one side, and then on the back, Furious Fury on the other, and you can pitch cast either side.
Oh man.
So you can like force if homie don't play that to negate something.
Yeah.
And if they're playing a creature deck, then you just get to pitch a red card
Yep.
and wreck them.
Yep.
So like Fire Ice goes to like $45 because it pitches to both.
Oh man.
And then you've done it. But yeah, so they're bringing Modern Horizons 3 to Arena in its entirety.
Yep. For reasons.
For it again, like at this point, I think at that point, Modern will be a handful of staples that they haven't figured out how to power creep out. Right?
Yeah.
Like they haven't figured out, like they can't just make a lightning bolt that deals 4.
Right.
Right? I mean, they could make like deal 3 to target player or make it flame slash, deal 4 to a creature or planeswalker.
Yep.
Right? So like it'll be things they can't play power creep out, or things that are just like random, like Strangle Root Geist getting played in Modern because it combos with Yawgmoth.
Right.
Right? And then like the Modern Horizons cards. And that's going to be Modern. Like Modern will be like 4 sets.
Basically.
It'll be Modern Horizons 1, 2, and 3 and Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
And that'll be Modern. Again, 20 years of Magic history condensed down into 4 sets.
I mean, you know how you print strictly better versions of a card though, right?
Just knock a mana value off?
Well, you make it an adventure.
Oh, this is very, very, oh my, double-sided adventures, Bone Crusher on one side, and then just something else ridiculous on the other?
Yeah, it'll be like, I don't know, Ashiok something or other. Thought Seas on an adventure, like 2 mana 4/4 is the creature.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, which, based on some of these leaks.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. Yeah. But, like, it helps them get closer to Modern on Arena. And I think that even though you and I don't play Historic, and it seems like a lot of people, it seems that more people play Historic in Alchemy than we realize.
Yeah.
And I think that much like the like fabled kitchen table casual Magic player, I think that there is also this fabled
fake card Magic player
that like they get on here and they just do that.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how much of this is like they're steered towards it because like when you build a deck, it like defaults to Alchemy because it comes first alphabetically,
right?
Or what? But they've got to keep those formats like interesting.
Yeah. So I have another quick question here.
Okay.
Do you think that, because this is supposed to be a draftable format, like that's the reason that they're putting this on Arena so people can draft it. Is it going to be premium priced or is it going to be normally priced?
Have they done a premium priced Arena product?
Not that I know of.
So I would not be surprised if they've pushed the price on every other thing. That it seems strange that they wouldn't push the price on Arena for drafts.
Unless
and it could be unless what?
Unless they're specifically trying to get people on Arena.
Fair, like, hey, I can, like, you know, I think that more people would draft Commander Masters on Arena if it was regular price than the like ridiculous price it is now.
Right. And like the Horizon sets have been fantastic draft experiences, both of them.
No, they've been very good. Like again, that's another one that like I will draft a lot of.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised, even if it was like a small push, right? Instead of being 10,000 gold, what if it went to 12,000? And instead of 1,500 gems, what if it went to like 2,000?
Yeah.
And then like still a lot of people drafted it, and they'd be like, okay, so we can do this.
Yeah.
You may have missed this in your week of Ludditedom.
Okay.
Did you see the Blogatog post about Morrow and premium priced products?
I did not.
So someone asked, gosh, I need to maybe try to find it. I remember the gist of it. Someone asked, like, hey, like, why do you guys have to like keep printing these premium priced products?
Mm-hmm.
And Mara's response was, well, if we don't make them, was basically paraphrasing, if we don't make them premium price, we can't put in as powerful of cards. Would you be willing to pay these, like, buy these sets if they didn't have as powerful of cards in them?
What?
Exactly. And like Pleasant Kenobi mentioned this, and I was like, how, like, the power level of the card
Has
does
nothing to
not
do with the
dictate
price.
how much the pack is.
Right.
But like, it seems like their thought process, or at least what Morrow expressed,
Yeah.
was that hey, power.
If that's the current design philosophy, like, there's no coming back.
Yeah, no, like, if it's, hey, we have to get, so like, there's all these questions that people have asked. Where's like Morrow answering? So I'm just like, I went to Blogatog trying to find the
I mean, if it was last week sometime, you're probably not going to find it. He answers a lot of questions on there.
Okay. Oh, here we go. So how do I, okay, I found this. So how do I get to
It's usually right afterwards.
the answer? Posted by Mark Rosewater. No, where's it at? Crap. So I found the question. Now I have to find the answer.
It should be right after the question.
There's a bunch of like, I don't know if a bunch of people responded to it.
That should be right after the answer.
So I see posted by, I don't know. I'm too dumb to do this. Here, in the thing, you can see the question at least.
Yeah.
So here, you can figure it out. There you go.
I will figure it out. Yep.
Because I'm looking at it, and there's like a bunch of people that have like, I see like posted by Mark Rosewater. Anyway,
So it's right here. It says, I'd like to give the feedback that I think there's some dissonance in making a set for Commander Public at a premium price point. Commander is a format that gives life to often ignored cards, underdogs, and unplayable weird subsets. It was built as an alternative to higher price points. The fact that staples get pricier is a bug, not a feature. Thus, the premium price point for the set, I feel, drives the main target audience away, not towards the set. Thanks for listening. Then he responds, this prompts a question that I'm honestly interested to hear all of your opinions on. We could make a Commander-focused product at the same price as a Premier set, but it would be at the same power level as a Premier set. Is that something you would purchase?
So there you go. Sorry, my inability to read. I was looking for like a Mark replies, not just like one big paragraph.
The whole thing is his reply.
Okay. So, yeah, so basically we have to charge more for Commander Masters because they're more powerful cards.
Right.
Which makes no sense. It doesn't mean that you have to, like, the cards weren't harder to design.
No, that's like the definition of runaway power creep.
Yeah, they're not like harder to print. It's just you've decided that if we make a Ragavan,
right,
then we get to charge more money for a Ragavan. So we're gonna make a Ragavan and charge $10 a pack.
Yep.
And it just doesn't make any sense. So, speaking of premium prices, like, this has been a thing. So,
yep.
All right. Speaking of things coming to Arena, Eldraine previews are starting tomorrow, apparently. So tomorrow being Tuesday. So 2 days ago, as you listen to this.
So next week should be our mechanics article.
Yes.
Barring any weird goings on.
So we'll hopefully be able to talk about that next week.
Yep. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we also have Journey to the Center of Ixalan. or
Okay.
whatever its actual name is.
I like Journey to the Center of Ixalan. I thought it was the legit set name. I was like,
No,
I'm good.
I mean, well, so in Blogatog there, at some point, Morrow had said that they were going to do a journey to the center of the earth, like, set. And whatever this Ixalan thing is, like, have you looked at any of the artwork?
No.
It's like Journey to the Center of the Earth. So
Okay.
it's Journey to the Center of Ixalan. And that's going to be in November. And then we're getting cons on Arena. So there's going to be a very busy few months here coming up.
So just keep that in mind. What else do we got here? Somehow we're getting improved duplicate protection.
Well, they didn't really have any details on it other than saying that the more, not individual cards, but the more sets that are released on Arena, the more of a problem duplicate protection is going to be, because like every set's going to have some number of reprints, right? And like realistically, how many duresses do you need? Just the one.
Literally 4.
Yeah.
That's it.
So they have said that they're planning on doing something about duplicate protection, improving it in some way. I don't know what it's going to be, but that's nice though, because like I haven't heard anybody complaining about that in a long time.
No, but it does reach a point where, like, much like you have boxes and boxes of bulk, right? Where at least you have some sort of dream to turn like 2,000 of them into $5 or whatever the heck the conversion rate is.
Right.
Like, you don't have that on Arena.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh, I got another one of these. So, like, again, I think that there are still complaints about the economy. But I think Arena is, because Standard hasn't been enticing for people.
Yeah.
Arena has kind of been backburnered. Right? There's not Pioneer, really. And, like, the people that tweet and talk about Magic aren't talking about Historic, right? Like, so I don't think that has been as big an issue. But if you're moving Pioneer to Arena, and then if you have an eye to move Modern to Arena, you're going to be moving a lot more people.
Yeah.
And the economy has to be a little bit more functional,
right?
To like, because I think that, like, if the economy is super broken, I think people get jaded and don't want to give you money. I think there's probably some break point where, like, you make the economy more generous and in turn you make more money.
Right.
Where people don't, like, where you or I might be like, I know the economy is bad. I don't want to put any money in because I know I'm getting screwed. Right. If we felt like the economy was more generous, maybe we'd be like, you know what, I'm willing to put a little bit of money in here because, like, I feel like I'm getting a good value. As opposed to I'm getting raked over the coals. So, like, maybe they feel like if they get the, like, Arena economy is bad, because, like, whenever they ask, like, how likely are you to tell someone to play Arena? Like, I'm always like, 1, and then, like, why? And it's like, the economy is too predatory and would cost too much for someone to actually get in at this time.
Right.
Like, you can't get in now.
Right.
Like, you were supposed to get in the open beta.
Well, I mean, look at Brad. When he was fed up with Pauper on Magic Online, he tried switching over to Arena, and, you know, we had both worked with him a little bit to try and, you know, get him up to speed, give him some tips and tricks, and it was, like, even just to get, you know, Pauper singles, it was way too much of an obstacle. Yeah,
it's just, you can't get over into it. So, like, they've got the whatever the golden ticket packs or whatever, like the kind of make it so you can open packs and like,
not come out way behind your
it'd be akin to drafting. Like, I think that if people, like, really enjoyed Arena and felt like it, like, people would typically spend $100, or you and I spent $200 a release.
I
like,
spent
minimum,
more than $200 a release,
on like sealed products, right? It's every time it's just like, here's $200. Like, I'm gonna buy my 2 boxes. And I'll do my pre-release kits and stuff. And now we spend like $0.
Actual $0.
And so, like, they've got to get more people, like, to be on Arena and feel like spending $200 on Arena is not just like
incinerating money.
Yeah, just like, oh man, this is awful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I will say sitting in a hotel room watching Gavin playing crappy Gates Ablaze, Mazes End Gates, was doing that on my iPad, would not have been able to interact with Magic otherwise. So it does have benefits, but it's still not the best. So this is good.
Yep. There was one more thing that I just wanted to note about these Arena announcements. And then we'll move on to the next topic here. And that's that these were actually Arena announcements. It seems like all we get lately are a list of upcoming events, and we don't actually get announcements talking about the direction of the client or what their roadmap looks like or anything like that anymore. So it was when I saw this article and read through it, it was a very welcome change of pace. So thank you, Wizards.
Thank you very much, Wizards.
Yep.
Then
I just had a real quick note about Eternal Weekend. Eternal Weekend is coming up in December. There's 3 of them worldwide. The one in the U.S. is in December, and it's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's been in Pittsburgh before.
Yeah, well, it's typically in like the Mid-Atlantic or Northeast, I think. This was a Wizards of the Coast announcement, which I thought was kind of strange because Wizards basically does not support Legacy anymore. So it's kind of... Oh, sorry about that. I couldn't get to my mute button fast enough. So it's weird for Wizards to, make an announcement or support this event in any way, I thought. But if you guys don't know a whole lot about the Eternal formats, Legacy, Vintage, a little bit less Vintage because that's like super not accessible, but typically the coverage for these is really good. I imagine NZ's going to be there, right?
For sure.
Yeah. And Legacy games are something to behold. So if you guys haven't checked it out, you should tune in December 8th through the 10th.
Yeah, agreed. This is one that it's like sadly, I think my final is like that Monday.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Like I don't think I could
swing it.
Be like, hey, we're going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Though I will say, oh wait. So study day is the 8th or the 7th. The 8th is a Friday, and then my final is Monday in the afternoon. Like I could conceivably go to Pittsburgh and Chalice the Void some people.
There you go.
Because I'm now a Chalice of the Void gamer.
Okay. Have graduated?
Well, my goal with Depths was to play as few turns as possible.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get to play that much Legacy.
Yeah.
So if I have to play an intricate 20-turn Legacy game, not going to go well. But if I have to play an intricate 2-turn Legacy game, that probably is going to go pretty all right. Like, can't get outplayed in 2 turns for the most part.
That is correct.
Chalice of the Void makes the game slightly longer, but your opponent doesn't get to play any magic. Thus, advantage me, person who is playing magic. It's like, what do your cards do? Oh, nothing? Rebel Master. Attack you, you're dead. So that's where we are right now, is like, how little magic can I let you play?
Yeah. So you've moved on to Magic as a zero-sum game where you have all of the fun and your opponent has none of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, my a few weeks ago, my Delver opponent was like, I can't Chalice in the main. I'm like, yes. And then the next game, I chaliced them and then played a Trinisphere.
Oh, man.
And the person beside me was like, so what, you have 2 Trinispheres? I'm like, I have the full 4. It was 4. Like, I came here for people to not play Magic.
Yep.
You are not going to play Magic this game, sir. So I was like,
Brutal.
Chalice you, then Trinisphere you, and they just went and picked up all their cards. So yeah. But yeah, like I would go do that for a weekend, like just Trinisphere some people.
Yep.
That's good. That is magic as Richard Garfield intended. So speaking of that, like I don't know if you've the Receivables has done back-to-back episodes. They
I
did
am
fourth
so far
edition.
behind on them.
They did 4th edition and now they're on Ice Age.
Yeah.
And today they were talking about like the fact that there were like I think they settled on 25 color hosers in Ice Age.
Yeah.
And Cedric was like, it's kind of amazing that like uh old Magic was just like trying to make sure your opponent couldn't play any Magic.
Yeah.
It was like, yes, it was. And like that's what we're going back to.
I mean, think about how many cards did that though. Like Dingus Egg, Black Vice.
I mean, no, Flash Fires,
Well,
Choke.
I meant more than like just the color hosers though.
Oh yeah.
Like Icy Manipulator, Stasis. Like they were all about
City in a Bottle. Oh, you have Arabian Nights cards, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, do your mountains have the Arabian Nights symbol on them? Well, I have some sad news for you.
Yep. Boom.
Armageddon.
Yep.
So Eternal Weekend, good coverage.
Check
and
it out if you can.
always like some interesting stuff that comes out of it.
Yep.
In terms of like legacy stuff.
It's interesting just to watch too. Like Legacy is really off-putting to a lot of people because of the price point to entry and like how little exposure there is to it. But the games are very interesting for the most part.
They are. I mean, even when you're just like mindlessly like chalicing people, right? You have to like you have things like, okay, I should play my Lotus Petal first.
Right.
So that I can't get dazed.
Right.
And like just like even like those little decisions of like, how do I sequence this on like, tap Ancient Tomb, play Chalice of the Void. Like, how do I sequence this? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, really matters. So, and I mean, I think one of the things that people like are more used to now are the free spells. Like that was one of the things that like I think could be off-putting for Legacy is like you had no mana up. Why did I like get my spell countered?
Right.
And like now we're just used to your opponent going like, turn 2, play a 5-drop that wraths your board.
Yeah.
And then attacking with a monkey. Right. Like we're more used to that.
Yeah.
So like that kind of thing. And now the price point is like just not a thing that's going to be fixed between now and December, but just like watching it. And as everyone has moved on to like Team Proxy, like if you watch it and enjoy it, get your friends to Proxy.
100%. As we just stated, Wizards is basically no longer supporting Legacy, so I don't see any reason to buy reserve list stuff to play Legacy. If you want to buy it for some other reason, go for it. But like Legacy players just want to jam games, so proxy it up.
All right. Now we have there was a B&R announcement.
Or more like a un-B and R.
Yeah. So I read the article. I haven't read it in a little bit, but I read the article. But basically, there were no changes to Standard and Pioneer, and they were like, yeah, there's not like a top dog in Pioneer. And what was it? Nick, oh gosh, from the Cyborg.
Yeah.
Nick Miller.
Yeah.
Was like, what about this? It like just posted like some like challenge that like 6 of the top 9 decks were Nykthos Ramp. It's like, I beg to differ that there is not a top dog.
Yeah.
So like that's a little frustrating that like, the view is that Pioneer is fine, and there was a lot of people saying that like, hey, like Pioneer's not fun. And I don't know how you fix Pioneer not being fun. Like, maybe the deck spread and the win rates of the decks are fine, but the format is not like an enjoyable way to like spend your time.
Well, I mean, people were before the best deck was Nykthos Ramp, it was Rakdos, and people were complaining about that. So, like, there's
Like,
always going to be a best deck, and there's always going to be people complaining.
this is true. But like, I guess my like, I don't know how you make the format more fun, but that seems to be a complaint people have.
Yeah.
But uh Pioneer has a lot of not what feels like non-games.
Yeah.
So like the mono green deck, like there are just times where like you just watch your opponent like make 40 mana.
Yep.
And you're just like, neat. And then like Lotus Field, like, because the version of Lotus Field that's on Arena is not great,
Right.
but I've still just like been clowned.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I did now. So I don't know how you like make those games more interesting or more fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it
With
would have been
adventures. Everybody likes adventures.
I currently I need to go look at what cards I have for my cube before I buy them.
Mm-hmm.
But I currently have 20 Lucky Clovers and 20 Edgewall Innkeepers in a cart, and five Bone Crusher Giants.
There you go.
So the big thing was they unbanned Preordain in Modern. I just saw your note that Punishing Fire is still too good. I
mean, they're the same power level, right? Preordain and Punishing Fire.
Clearly. So Preordain is the realistically third best cantrip ever printed.
Yes.
Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain.
Yep.
Now people are like, oh, I don't know if it's as good as like Opt or Consider. And it's like, calm down. Like in Legacy, if given an option of which of these cards to play, we pick Preordain.
Right.
Every time. So slow down with that.
Yeah.
So it's gonna give decks more consistency.
Mm-hmm.
There's some talk, like again on the Jerry T podcast, and some other people just saying like maybe we mess around with Preordain for a while and like decide it's like not what we should be doing. I thoroughly doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because just like the blue-red decks, they want to put cards in their graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Preordain puts itself in the graveyard.
That is correct.
They want to find the cards that they need. This does that.
Yep, pretty efficiently.
Yeah. Preordain looks at one more card, then Opt or Consider.
Yep.
It puts one less card in the graveyard than Consider.
Correct.
But it lets you find your cards. Probably lets you cut lands.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it will be. It's probably gonna be one of those like glue cards, where like I think it was the co-host on Gary T was like, "You're never gonna know the games that you lost to Preordain."
Well, I mean, it's not that kind of card.
It's not, but like,
yeah,
like it's going to make decks better. You are going to lose games because your opponent kept a one lander with a Preordain.
Yeah,
and they would never have been able to keep a one lander with an Opt.
100%.
Right. And they're like gonna get effectively 4 looks at their second land drop.
Right.
Where they would otherwise get 3 looks at their second land drop.
Yeah. And in that kind of deck, they only ever need their second land drop. So
yeah. And so like you're just gonna have those games where like you would have maybe won the game to Opt, right? If their land was 4 down and they missed their land drop, and like you get to like build your board presence or do your thing, and they're like playing a turn behind, and now they're just gonna hit that second land drop and be fine.
Yep.
So like it's gonna be a glue card. I think it's gonna see a decent amount of play, but like there are some decks that are blue that are just like banned from playing it. Right, Rhinos can't play it.
Right.
Living End can't play it. So like some of the top decks, but it's probably gonna like, why wouldn't you play it in like Control?
No, you would.
Like, right? Like I think every like, if you think about all the decks in Legacy that play Brainstorm and Ponder, their modern equivalent is probably going to play Preordain.
Yep.
Right? It just makes sense that that's what you would do.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's probably not too good, but it's probably going to make a lot of decks better.
Mm-hmm.
Like sneakily.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Punishing Fire being too good, I saw like a TikTok of like, there's a guy who does like, oh hey, why is this card banned?
Mm-hmm.
Like someone's like, oh, why is this card banned? And then they play a game and like, oh look at how like, repetitive this is. And it's just like, how dead are you to like a 3 mana deal to? Like your game plan is a 3 mana deal to,
Yeah.
and like I cast the Run Ring and draw 6 cards over the course of 3 turns.
Right.
To you. Neat. I'll draw 2. I'll 2 myself. I'll draw 3. I'll play another with a One Ring.
Yeah.
I'll play an Orcish Bowmasters. Kill your Orcish Bowmasters. Cool. I still have the Orc.
The token. Yeah.
Are you gonna spend 3 mana to kill the other half of my 2 mana card?
Right.
Neat. Like okay, like
Your Punishing Fire came down a turn too late, and I've already connected once with the monkey.
Yeah, or like, oh man, I griefed you, and for some reason, maybe you discard your Punishing Fire. So your first turn was put the Punishing Fire back in your hand.
Yeah.
Great use of your first turn.
Right.
Neat. Yeah. So, I don't understand, but
I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. Like Punishing Fire isn't. Even if they unbanned it, it would see 0 play. So yeah, it doesn't matter if it's. It might as well be on the banned list because.
Yeah, it is a comical card to be on the banned list, but if the goal isn't to have the smallest possible ban list,
right?
Like
it being there doesn't change anything,
right? If there's a 0.1% chance that it like breaks Modern, and they just go like, you know what? No, we're not going to take that chance because of we're like 99.9% sure it does nothing.
Right.
So why take that risk of it like being too good?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. I guess we shouldn't get rid of it. We shouldn't take it off.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the like risk of it breaking stuff is significantly less.
Yeah.
Than that. So like I think it just come off and like, oh, it like holds down creature decks. It's like, yeah, so does like half the crap you've printed in the last like 4 years. Like
hello, Fury.
Fury, Solitude, like, oh,
yeah.
I have my creature combo deck. I guess I'll kill the creature that's part of your combo for free.
Yeah.
And or I'm a red player and I'll just kill all your creatures for free. Neat. So yeah. And then Mind's Desire
in Legacy.
Been unbanned in Legacy.
Yeah, so I am not a Storm player. I do not enjoy piloting Storm. I do not enjoy playing against Storm. I pretty much don't like Storm at all, which means that I don't understand the archetype because I don't think I've ever piloted a Storm deck. It's not my thing. My initial reaction was that I assumed 6 mana was too much for a Storm payoff. And then I went to the deck lists on Goldfish and was promptly proven wrong.
Bryant Cook has put up, he's got a 3rd video today that I haven't watched yet. Has put up 3 or 4 videos about Mind's Desire. He first put it in Ant and then promptly got to cutting ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Because having a 6 and like going harder on Echo of Aeons.
Yeah.
With Mind's Desire. Because like the best thing you can do with a Mind's Desire is Mind's Desire into another Mind's Desire. So like 6 mana is trivial for those decks to get. Like if you think about like
after increasing your storm count though, because this is a payoff, right?
yeah, well think about how how Ant wins a lot of times. They Burning Wish for Tendrils. That's 6 mana.
That's true.
Right? So like 8 mana, like I think the harder part is getting blue.
Okay.
Right? Like, you know, you can Burning Wish for it, like hold priority, crack your LED
Yeah.
kind of deal. But like I think the blue is a little bit harder, like than like black and red. But the last build he had was like on like uh not oh, what is the one that is it Desperate Ritual? No, the one that like you get 2 red, then you get 3 red, then 4 Bright of Flame.
Yeah. Right of flame.
Right? Like he was on like Rite of Flame and like on all the rituals.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the 1 mana rituals just to get a ton of mana.
Yeah.
And then like also like you ritual off and then Galvanic Relay, and then the
Mm-hmm.
next turn you just have a huge storm count plus like a bunch of mana.
Yeah.
So like it's one of those things that I guess I don't know if it'll hang around. Right? Is it better than going like Burning Wish for Tendrils kill you?
Yeah. So, like
Probably not.
that's the kind of thing that I don't know. I
There were
know
definitely
like Mind's Desire is one of the payoffs for like the Cube Storm, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, I guess I don't know enough
there
about the archetype to know.
there were definitely times in his videos where he was like, I really want to get Mind's Desire, but the right play to win the game is to just go get Tendrils and kill them.
Yeah.
And there were a few times he was like, screw it.
We're
We're
doing it.
doing Mind's Desire. But yeah, like it's fighting for that. Like, because like if you get to like, it's almost like it's almost like Galvanic Relay,
Mhm.
where on one hand, where it's giving you the cards now, but you storm off, get a bunch of mana, cast Mind's Desire, and you're hoping to spin into more action,
Yeah.
right? To like keep going. Where like Mind's Desire gives you a bunch of mana. Where
Yeah.
like Galvanic Relay gives you a bunch of cards. Mind's Desire gives you the same amount of cards,
Mhm.
but in theory gives you more mana.
Right.
And you get it like now, so you don't have to pass the turn.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, I am not like a Storm aficionado. It's fun, though I think like super annoying in paper. Shuffle,
Yeah.
shuffle, shuffle. Flip.
Not my cup of tea.
Shuffle. Flip.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
you mean like Mind's Desire in particular? Yeah.
yeah, like great because like
Yeah.
it's shuffle your deck, flip the top card.
Right.
So every time you have to shuffle your deck.
Yeah.
It's like,
Okay.
okay, here we go. Shuffle, flip.
Yep.
And then there were no bans from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little
Yeah.
bit before I took my break.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing I thought was weird is they were like they seem to think like having 45% of your Pro Tour decks be the One Ring decks and 40% of your decks be Orcish Bowmaster decks was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I don't know, like, historically what kind of like the saturation of a certain card was or the representation of a certain card was in the format.
Yeah.
But like 45% of your decks having the same card in it and that card not being like polluted Delta or
Well,
Mountain.
the thing that they said in the article though was that they're in like a wide variety of archetypes and they don't really define a singular archetype. And I don't think, at least in Modern, we've had a card that fit that bill. I know that's why Looter Scooter got banned in like every other format. But I don't think in Modern we've had a card that was banned just because like it was ubiquitous.
Yeah, but it's weird that like they would be like Looter Scooter is too ubiquitous in Pioneer.
Yeah.
It goes in every deck, and they're like, well, the ring is in almost half of the decks, but that's fine.
I think the difference though is that like Looter Scooter didn't add anything to a particular archetype. It just went in every deck.
Fair.
Whereas the One Ring like lifts up some archetypes that weren't
Makes
as
Tron
good.
playable.
Yeah. So I mean, you can argue both sides, and
yeah, no, it's again tinfoil hat time.
Yeah,
right. Like
that's the other part of it. Yeah,
they got that holiday bundle they gotta move.
Oh yeah.
And what's the big draw?
Yep.
We got this foily rings in there.
Yep.
We got to move those holiday bundles.
That's
right. I would be surprised if we had a card that was 50% of the metagame for a year.
Mm-hmm.
That we'd just be like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But you never know. And again, like Modern Horizons 3 might just like have the hard counter to the One Ring.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think like the format, I think is pretty close to having a hard counter for the One Ring. Like Narset already exists, Bowmasters already exists, Shieldred already exists. Those are all pretty good counters to the One Ring.
Fair.
Before we proceed, this next section here is all from the Gen Con panel, and it's all about upcoming sets. So I don't think we have to spend a ton of time on this, but we're also an hour in, so it's up to you if you want to continue.
We can go over this. We're an hour 10 in, but we can go over this in probably like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, it shouldn't take too long.
Okay. We gotta open with there we go. Jurassic Park, or sorry, Jurassic World, baby.
Yeah. Universes Beyond Jurassic World is going to be in, we have just named it or dubbed it Journey to the Center of Ixalan.
Okay.
Just like the Transformers cards were in Brothers War, these are going to be in Ixalan. So like in the, I guess they were set boosters and collector boosters, or just collector boosters as like not actually in the set, but in the set. Same deal here, but with Jurassic World instead of Transformers.
You know what I just thought of?
What's that?
We have Chris Pine in Magic. We're now going to have Chris Pratt in Magic.
Yeah.
When are we going to have Chris Evans? When are they going to do the Marvel crossover? Oh, they won't ever get the Marvel crossover because that'll go into Lorcana.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we won't get our Chris Evans. Dang.
Man.
And I really don't think they'll do like a Snowpiercer Magic crossover.
Probably not.
Urza's the guy who runs the train. So we have Jurassic World, so dinosaurs, and then in 2024 we have Ravnica remastered.
Yep.
So this is a paper release.
This is paper release. It's all 3 visits to Ravnica, condensed into a singular draft experience.
Awesome.
Yep. That's basically all the information we have about that.
We have Murders at Karloff Manor, a murder mystery on Ravnica.
Yep. This is going to be a standalone set. I don't know if it's, I'm assuming it's the standard release for Q1.
I would assume so, yeah.
What was weird is when they were describing this, it almost made it sound like an Aftermath style set, but like there's no way they could do an Aftermath style set for like a regular standard set release. So I'm not 100% sure what this is.
Why couldn't they? Because they just did.
No, because Aftermath was like part of March, right?
But it
was like 50 cards tacked on the end. It wasn't like a whole set, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure what this is going to be.
I keep reading Karlov Manor, but I keep thinking Markov.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking this is like Innistrad, but no, it's like black white.
Yeah.
Yeah, black white. Is Orzhov Ravnica stuff.
Yep.
So it is a murder it's a standalone set with a mystery solving mechanic.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means. They
How many
mentioned
glass beads am I holding in my hand?
in the panel that there will be like in the game somehow there will be a mystery that you have to solve. I have no idea how that's going to work.
Are they going to reprint Goblin Game?
Maybe.
There's the mystery you have to solve.
There's the mystery. How does this card work?
And then we have Fallout Universes Beyond Commander decks.
Yeah.
I am a big Fallout fan. I have played many of them.
Yeah.
Now that they've moved to Xbox, I probably won't get to play them anymore. Boo. But
well, this is what I alluded to earlier. If there is a expansion for Arena to play multiplayer with Fallout decks,
yeah, there we go.
I have a feeling
I
Brian
one of
might
those
be
people
interested.
that like, does this card fit with my theme? Oh, there.
They said that the decks are going to be tied to factions in Fallout, so like Brotherhood of Steel or the Enclave or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Might be kind of
Like,
cool.
yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yep.
Then Q2. I can't believe these are coming so soon. We have the Outlaws of Thunder Junction, a new world filled with villains from across the multiverse. It is Western themed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just get this out of the way now. I mentioned it on Discord. I think it really threw me apart a bit later on. We're gonna have space operas and death races and
yeah.
Like, I understand that Magic sets were always kind of inspired by stories that already existed, worlds and lore from the real world, or like, places from the real world. But like now it just feels like, and it's, I guess it's going to be how things are done.
Yeah.
But like, it feels like there's a lot of, hey, like, I got Netflix and I just started watching stuff and I was like, oh, hey, we haven't done a spaghetti Western.
Oh,
hey,
wait
we
till we
haven't
get
done
to
a death race
Duskborn.
yet. Right. So it just feels like it's more of like there are these pop culture things that we can check off the list as opposed to like
that's 100% what it feels like.
As opposed to like making our own world. It's like we need a set someplace.
Yeah.
Like you could tell a similar story to a spaghetti Western set in like a high fantasy plane or a high fantasy place.
Absolutely.
As opposed to being like horses and saloons and stupid cowboy hats.
Right.
Right. Like you can do these types of stories in your world. Right. Because like, I guess I don't know how you would like describe it as, as opposed to like a Western set, but like, but that you say Western set, that gives a very certain vibe.
Yeah.
But like, this is a story, we're going to have the whatever, return to Ravnica, and we're going to follow like the one planeswalker from the set on like a singular quest for revenge. Right. And that story has been told as a Western a bunch of times, but like you're not like picking up that like specific aesthetic. And it may have just been that there are like 12 announcements that are just like someone went to like the genres tab on Netflix and just like
we need
started
one of all
writing
of these.
stuff down. Yeah, like we don't have one of these, we need one.
Yeah.
And it's like you guys spent all this time like jealously guarding your IP.
Right.
And
you just
like
threw it out.
Yeah, I mean, you have Nuka Penna. It's our gangster set. And it's like, did you need a gangster world?
Right.
Like, did I need a cab in my high fantasy game?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And like the gangster set was kind of like a throwaway, but now we're like, we have our gangster movie set. Now we're gonna have our murder mystery, our clue set.
Yep.
Now we're gonna have our Western set. Then we're gonna get Modern Horizons 3 all double faced all the time set.
Yeah, and we talked about that earlier. Going to be on Arena, going to have double faced cards. I don't think there's any more that we know or like need to say about it right now. We already covered it pretty thoroughly, I think.
Q3, so this time next year.
Yep.
We're gonna have Assassin's Creed Universes Beyond.
Yeah.
As a not draftable booster product?
Yeah, it's something about a Beyond booster. I have no idea what that means. That's what they're calling it. Sure. Made from sustainable sources.
Made from sustainable sources.
Yeah, they found a way to regurgitate designs so they don't have to bleed interns dry anymore.
Brought to you by ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, I don't know what the Beyond booster is going to be. They said it's not going to be draftable. They said it is going to be legal and modern. It's about all we know.
How do you, like, what are those cards going to look like if you just put out Modern Horizons 3?
And then the next set is Assassin's Creed?
That is modern legal.
Yeah.
So I know we all remember like Core 19 that felt like Elvish Reclaimer and like some other cards that felt like kind of remnants of Modern Horizons 1.
They fell out of one design file and into the next.
So I wonder how much of like Assassin's Creed are things that like didn't quite make the cut or didn't quite work.
Yeah.
And like you could definitely see a like push to like double face stuff in an Assassin's Creed thing where you're like hiding or like morphs or like stuff happening in the Animus and then stuff happening in the real world.
Yeah, supposedly the Animus is going to play a part in this, which is kind of weird because like the Assassin's Creed games have kind of moved away from the Animus.
I've moved away from the Assassin's Creed games.
Well, I have also, but mainly because of that. Like the first 2 games were really good because of like the tie-in with the Animus and you're playing your game in 2 different timelines and whatever. I thought it was awesome. And then like after that, it was present in the games, but it wasn't like a driving force of the games anymore. And
I think I lasted like to like 4, the one with like the ships.
Yeah,
it was a Black Flag or something.
Yeah, Black Flag was.
And
I started that one and stopped.
Same. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
But like the first few games, like there was like the interesting story with like whatever they were called, kind of like agents or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the precursors or whatever the heck they were called. And like I really wanted that story to pay off, and Ubisoft was like,
nope.
No. We're just going to keep making these games and making these games. And I was like, I'm going to stop buying these games. Thank you very much.
Yep. So yeah, not super interested for this one either, especially since I don't know what a Beyond booster is, and it's more cards that are going to not be powerful enough for Modern, looking at you, One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah. Now, in our defense, they spoiled the One Ring really early. But also like it's becoming more and more clear that like a whole set doesn't have to be powerful enough for Modern.
Right.
It's like they can just pick 5 cards.
Oh yeah.
And they pick those 5 cards and it changes the format.
Absolutely.
So like it's Ezio a Planeswalker because he like, or oh god no, whatever your name is in the real world, are you a Planeswalker because you go through the Animus?
Yeah.
To these different worlds.
Maybe the Animus is like analogous to an Omen Path or whatever they're using now.
Yeah. So interesting, but like again, it only takes like 2 cards.
Yep.
Right? To be like, oh hey, this like changed Modern. So this could be the 5th set that they need to put on Arena to make sure that you have Modern playable on Arena.
There you go.
And then you have Bloomburrow. No humans. Only animals.
No humans whatsoever. animals are the main characters, or animals are the only characters. So this is where that art that was shown, that was like the mouse with the cape and like the fire wolf or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This is the plane that came from. So, and that's all we know about this one, is no humans, only animals.
We have Duskmorn, House of Horror, a top-down modern horror from the 70s/80s, set in a giant mansion.
Yep, that's right. You read that correctly.
Okay. The only thing I could think of is like Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep, Chainsaw Massacre, like, Freddy Krueger.
Like, is there going to be a vehicle that you have to like flip a coin to see if you can crew it?
I don't know, maybe.
Like it won't start. It won't start.
Yep. Hiding in the chainsaw shed.
Yeah. But again, feels like someone watched like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and went like, why can't I do this?
Yeah.
Why haven't we done this in Magic yet? Then we have Innistrad Remastered.
Yeah, well, so from here on out, things are very loose. This is into 2025. Yeah, and they specifically said that a lot of this stuff is probably going to change, but they, for whatever reason, felt the need to talk about it. So
we
yeah,
have
first up is
Remastered.
Yep, and this is just like Ravnica Remastered. It's just all of the Innistrad sets kind of curated into a draft experience. I mean, we've heard that before, right?
They're just all the times you go to Innistrad, but in black and white.
Right. Just all together.
It's a 700 card set, or it's a 1,000 card set just in black and white.
Yeah.
And then these ones are still in their code names. These other upcoming sets. We have Tennis, which is the code name.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a death race across multiple worlds through Omen paths. Again, I love the new Death Race movie as much as the next person.
Yeah.
But why?
They also gave a little bit more information, like hints to what the planes could be, but I didn't care to think about it that much. I figured it was 2 years out, and we'd worry about it when it got closer.
We have Ultimate, which is the return to Tarkir.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And like, hey, this one is a Magic set.
Yeah, imagine that.
It's not like a Netflix tie-in.
Yeah, supposedly this is going to be the best parts of each set. So like the things that made cons great and the things that made dragons not quite as good as cons, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
Like smashed together into one set.
Now this next one is the one that could get me.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Universes Beyond.
Yeah, this one's going to be a full booster release like Lord of the Rings. So it'll be legal and modern. It'll be on Arena.
I played every Final Fantasy game from Final Fantasy 3 in the US, which is actually Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah.
So I played 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10. Most of 10 too. I kind of like checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I came back for maybe 12. Like I think 11 might have been like their first crack at like an MMO.
Yeah.
That I played like 12 or 13. I've kind of been away, and then during right before the pandemic or right after was when Final Fantasy 7 remake came out, and like played a lot of that.
Yep.
And I'm currently playing Final Fantasy Crisis Core, which is not a good video game. It's fine. It's not great. But like I'm just like, it's Final Fantasy. I'm playing this. I'm doing everything. But yeah, it is that is my jam. I do not.
I never got super into the Final Fantasy games. I played like the originals on Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played, was it 7 was the one that was on PS1 with like
Yes.
2 discs or whatever? Four discs, yeah.
I literally still have it.
Well, I made it through the first disc and went to move on to the second disc, only to find that my little brother had gotten a hold of the second disc and ruined it.
No.
And at the time, I was a very young lad, and that was a very expensive game.
Mm-hmm.
And I never picked up another Final Fantasy game.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And like, it took me a long time to get through that first disc just to find out that the second disc was ruined.
Final Fantasy is back on like Super Nintendo and in the PlayStation. Younger listeners, they would have like an hour counter.
Yeah.
And it would go up to 99 hours and 59 minutes and then wouldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
I pegged multiple playthroughs of Final Fantasy 3 and I do believe Final Fantasy 7 to 100 hours.
Yeah.
So, yes. The remaster is good. It is more of a modern action RPG if we're trying to sell you on stuff. I don't know how I feel about like, I don't know, Cloud and Materia in modern, like besides the One Ring.
Yeah.
Like it has some high fantasy vibes, like it could work.
But don't forget Ezio. Ezio's got to be in there.
Oh yeah, Ezio's there too, yeah. The Buster Sword as a piece of equipment.
The next Colossus Hammer.
Yeah, the next Colossus Hammer. Like, you know more about Lord of the Rings than I do.
Yeah.
So, like, other than, like, the really, like, big characters from, like, the movie, like, Rosie Cotton, like...
In the books, not really in the movie.
No idea who she is. So, like, I don't have that, like, oh, this is a D&D thing. Or, like, Orcish Bowmasters could literally have just been a magic card.
Yeah, I mean, that probably should have just been a magic card.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, with Final Fantasy, I'm much more, like, in on, like, the
IP.
The games and the IP.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, like, hard for me to be like, Squall should totally be a magic card. It's like, well, no. Or, like, Bahamut, I'll be like, no. He's a flying magic dragon. He is not a magic card. So, like, that'll be weird. Yeah. Now we have a volleyball.
Yeah, this is your space opera.
I love me some Cowboy Bebop, but
well, what's crazy is the last unset was unstable, right? Unstable?
Unfinity.
Unfinity, that's right, Unfinity. And yeah, it was set in space because that was a thing that we couldn't do in a regular release, right?
Hey, man. This, to me, gives the vibe of, like, we're running out of ideas. Yeah. We have, like, run our IP to where we can think to take it. And, like, they're trying, like, I think they're trying to avoid retelling stories.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to, like, do something else.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, like, there's, like, 20 Wheel of Time books. Like, you can, like, just tell, like, a really long story.
Right.
So, I don't know.
But, like, even the art that they showed for, like, this space opera or whatever looks like they pulled it right out of the file for Infinity.
And then we have Wrestling.
This is our return to Lorwyn.
Okay.
With a twist.
Okay.
They said it's going to be equivalent to Neon Dynasty. So it'll be like a future version of Lorwyn or something along those lines.
Okay. Kithkin and Merfolk live in harmony.
Sure.
And then we've got Yachting.
This is another return set on Arcavios, which is where Strixhaven was.
You know it's bad when you're like, we're returning to fill in the blank plane, and then you have to go like, you remember that's the plane that this set was set on, because like no one knew.
Right. Well, so like Strixhaven was set in the school.
Yeah.
And like there were very few other parts of the plane that you saw, but it was in the school. So I'm assuming that this set is going to be like the rest of the plane and not the school.
And then finally, we have, the most common time to go ziplining is when you get off of a big boat.
That's
so we're
right.
going from yachting to ziplining. our day excursion on our cruise will be similar to War of the March of the War or March. I was like War of the March. Like that's not right. War of the Spark or March of the Machines.
Yeah.
It'll be the culmination of the next story arc. I mean, March of the Machines was kind of this like end. Like it wasn't great. So yeah, I still stand by my. It really feels like they're
jump the
running
shark.
low on. Yeah, they're like running low on like ideas for like IP.
Certainly seems that way.
And I mean, they shouldn't.
Right.
Right? Like because there are like, I don't know, like read a book. There are tons of like every story has been told.
Well,
right?
I mean, there's still like huge loose ends in Magic lore that have not been explored yet.
Yeah, like you could go, did you know? I learned this today. Did you know who the Raven Man is?
Yes. It was revealed in the last Dominaria, I think. I don't remember.
Lemdol.
Yes, I did know that.
And they were like, because they were doing, because he first appeared on Ice Age.
Ice Age, yeah.
And they're talking about it like, oh yeah, Lemdol. They call him the Raven Man.
Yeah.
And that became a card. I was like, was he the Raven Man back then and we were just all too dumb to remember Ice Age stuff?
No, like, it wasn't revealed that he was the Raven Man until we got the Raven Man card. Okay.
But I was like, oh. But yeah, like, no, there's a lot of stuff that they could still do.
Well, like, Emrakul is still stuck in a moon.
Yeah.
And, like, we still don't know what the consequences of not having planet recycling Eldrazi are.
Fair.
Like, that's a huge story arc.
Yeah, like, what's going on with the Phyrexians? Have they, they weren't all killed?
Right.
Have they, fallen into disarray? Like, there are stories that can be told within your existing IP.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to set those stories in, a B movie, framing.
Right.
Because we used to, go to a set or go to a plane, and there was, a story that was told. And it might just be, how they're shortcutting it that makes it feel, really, cheap and icky.
Yeah.
And it'll be fine once we actually, do it. But, just to be, cowboys, race cars.
Done.
80s horror.
Done.
A genre that we've all been clamoring to revisit. 80s 100%. Horror films.
Oh, yeah.
And then, sci-fi space. It's just, what are you doing? You have all of this stuff that you could, go back to. And, yes, some of the stories might feel the same, but you're telling stories of conflict and war every time. Right. So you could just tell those stories. What's the Raven Man up to? Is he trying to raise another army of the dead?
What's Merit story?
Yeah, where's Merit
knows.
Where's my girl? Right?
Nobody has any idea what that story is.
You could do that, and you don't have to be we're going to talk about Merit Lage, but if Merit Lage was a cowboy.
Right.
And it's with the biggest hat. That's a 200-gallon hat.
Probably bigger than that.
But right, you could do those things and not have to shortcut it. You could be tennis is the story of Merit Lage. And then people would be oh my God, what are they going to do with Merit Lage? I think people would be way more excited about that
Yeah.
than they are like a death race.
Right.
Right? Or like, hey, like we're gonna like, you know, this is the story of the remaining Phyrexian Praetors
Hmm.
and like their struggle to like rebuild Phyrexian society.
Yeah. And like
Or
a lot
like,
of the loose ends that they've tied up lately, they've just kind of like slapped a band-aid on too. Like they made a huge deal about like Garrick going on a rampage after he got cursed by the Chain Veil, right?
mhm.
And then like all of a sudden randomly in like Throne of Eldraine, oh, he's better. Like
Yeah,
they did nothing with that story. Like that could have been a whole set.
it could have been a whole set like
Yeah.
Garrick struggle to like
Yeah.
regain his humanity or Garrickness or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, is he a human? I don't know.
I think so.
Uh, right, but like that could have been like a thing
Hmm.
where like you could treat sets like the chapters of a book,
Hmm.
right? Like, hey, we've got this. We paid Brandon Sanderson way too much money
Yeah.
to write like basically our story roadmap for the next like 20 sets.
Hmm.
And it's just like all of this like interconnected stuff and then do that and like because people are invested in like the characters. Like
Right.
I don't know how like hype people get for like one-off random dude,
Yeah.
and like most of the time they're like really hype about like the art,
Hmm.
right? Like, oh, we have like whatever Sophie Eric's daughter, and then like her brother,
Hmm.
right? And it's like, oh man, oh, you can see Sophie's in the background, like in her like that's what people get excited for is like those
Right.
kind of things, not just that like Sophie Eric's daughter brother shows up, Hans Eric's son or whatever his name was,
Yeah.
right? Like it's like, oh, I really like this character because of like how they look, right? Like that's what people like gravitate towards.
Yeah.
No one's just like cosplaying random tutu goblin.
Right.
Um,
I mean, somebody might, but
so anyway, but no, it is this like I guess yeah, 2 years just kind of feels like we're gonna throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
well, so I wonder how much of it is like, oh, we started doing these special frame treatments to have extra booster packs to boost sales so that we could have booster fun, and now every set needs a completely unique theme so that we can have a special border for our set to have more booster packs to sell more shit.
Like the Wild West one is like has like a rope border.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah. No, it could be that. I
Special
was also gonna
dust
say like
foil,
dust foil. I also wonder how much of it
pre-clouded for your
is
pleasure.
I also wonder how much of it is we're now cranking out so much product
Yeah.
that we're having to like write flavor text for and like try to put together in some sort of cohesive story
Yeah.
that like they don't have the time to like really flesh out
Right.
like you know someone was like you know crap tomorrow I have to have like 7 set plane set ideas and they were like Netflix boom
Yeah.
what about a de- death race love it boom bro we can sell them limited edition cars great.
Crossover with Hot Wheels.
Exactly, because yeah, we'll have the Hot Wheels universes
Secret. It'll
beyond
be,
for that
yeah, Hot Wheels Secret Lair.
secret layer King of the Road.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've been talking for a very long time. This is like an old school episode.
It is an old school episode.
So with that, I think we got a show,
We're going to call it a show.
maybe a show and a half.
Yeah.
So if you want to reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Discord, Elon Forever, uh, or uh, or email. I think I didn't say email. I got Discord this time. About like what sets you're excited for, what things you hope to see, how we can get the final Hollywood Chris Evans into Magic somehow.
I'm sure somebody has an idea.
I'm sure. Get at us on all of our various places.
Yeah,
all
hit
those
us
links
up.
are in the description.
Let us know what you think. If you're looking to support the show, there's 2 ways you can do it. The first is with our TCG Player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Head on over to TCG Player using that link. Anything you purchase after that will get a small percentage of to help keep the show going. Won't cost you guys anything extra. It really helps us out, so we would appreciate it. If you're looking to support us more directly, if you enjoy the content that we make and you want to show us that you enjoy it, or you want to just support the show in general, you can head on over to patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. In return for your support, you get access to our pre-show, roundabouts another hour of content out of us, completely unscripted. You never know what we're going to talk about. You also get access to our show notes, so you get a sneak peek about what the upcoming episode's going to be about, and you get put on my mailing list. Every so often, I get cool stuff to send out to you guys, and if you want to be included, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Like I said, chip a couple bucks in, you get access to all that cool stuff. You get the feel goods of knowing you're supporting your favorite podcast, and you get our undying appreciation.
Yes. All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internets.
We'll catch you on the internets.